Hi everyone, welcome to another video. As you can see, my skin is still very mad at me. I'd be mad at me too if I was my skin, I'd be mad at me too with how I've been taking care of it, so nothing new there. See, when I gain weight, it goes like straight to my face, so I feel like my face looks puffier than normal. I did just some exfoliation, some basic skincare and stuff, so I am going to go ahead and dig around for some kind of primer. I'm gonna start off with my primer of choice. I have been basically never leaving the house except for appointments, and even then I've just been keeping my appointments to the bare minimum because I've just been so tired lately. I am hoping that I can get all the inflammation and water retention under control and that maybe I can actually lose weight because I've been exercising. I don't think I eat that much. I mean, we all tell ourselves that, right? But I actually really don't because my appetite isn't always the greatest. And based on my mast cell activation syndrome symptoms, I am not absorbing most of the nutrients or medicine from my pills. So why is my weight going up? The doctor was like, yeah, well, you know, the things are kind of funny, the body's weird like that. And I'm like, I hate me sometimes. So I was gonna get the cat versions of these, but then because of the fact that I had to get a new car out of nowhere, it never ended up happening, and I don't know if it's even in stock anymore. So unfortunately, I just have the plain boring version. I guess I could sticker bomb it, but I wanted the cute cat version. Maybe, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I'll go look and see if it's still available. I don't know, maybe. I'll just use my finger. I'm gonna take the green. This is my, as I've mentioned before on other videos, this is my favorite green color corrector that I've ever used, period. And the SAEM does make a single, which is just that green, and I think they even have concealer pencils now, and it comes in that green. I think the SAEM's green, if you are light olive like me, I think you will find this green is probably the most flattering color correcting green that you've ever used. And the nice thing about the SAEM is that they are really cheap, and they've been cheap. Their prices have gone up a little bit like a lot of other brands have, but they are still pretty cheap. This concealer wheel I think usually retails around the $10 to $13 mark depending on where and when you get it. And I have seen their green single concealer for as low as $5 or $6, and I've even seen their concealer pencil for as low as, again, $5 or $6. So if you're looking for a concealer that is a color correcting green and you have my skin tone, I think you may want to look into the one from the SAEM because it may work for you. Okay, and then I'm gonna go in with foundation, and I really, of course, would just rather use my Chanel foundation because I really like it. It's way better than it has as any business being. But I bought this when it was half off, and I haven't even used it yet because I bought it. This was in the last major Ulta order I made before I just vanished off the face of YouTube for a month. And during that time, and even before that time, I really wasn't buying very much makeup at all, and I still am not, which is fine. I have used this formula before on my channel, the About Face Performer Foundation, and in my last video I said it kind of, the Chanel foundation, this kind of reminds me of a cheaper version of it. But the reason that I bought this shade, so this is my second time buying this foundation. I got this half off though, which is nice. And it's already really not that expensive to begin with, but the reason I got this shade is because the other shade, F2 Olive, ended up being too dark and too warm for me. So I'm gonna try F1 Warm and see if that works. Sometimes I've noticed that as a neutral olive, warm, the foundations advertised as warm that are still only a drop warm, I can often make them work for me. For example, a lot of Luxe foundations, the warm shade is usually not quite as orange as drugstore foundations that are advertised as warm, and so because of that, if I'm looking in the Luxe range, I'll go for that. And I'm just going to apply a nice thin layer. In my experience using this foundation, it really is quite nice. It's a light coverage but can be powdered down, and it feels really nice on my skin. It's not the best coverage, it's not the best pore coverage, it's not you know, this best smoothing filter. It kind of almost walking the line between a light coverage foundation and a skin tint is what it feels like to me, and it can be applied in just such thin layers really nicely. So it just is a really easy foundation if I don't really want to have any heavy layers on my skin, because high coverage foundations are nice, but they can be a little bit high maintenance sometimes. So I'll have days where I'm like, you know, I just don't really want to have to spend a lot of time perfecting my foundation, and I don't want to have to worry about applying too much on accident, because this is about face foundation. If you do apply too much, it really, like, it doesn't really, you don't really get in trouble for it. There's no real consequence. And I personally find, because of the fact that, like, I know some people get all up in arms about the doe foot applicator, which is fine, completely valid. I don't mind it too much. I actually kind of like it because the doe foot means that I use less, because if I pump out foundation, then I feel like I should use it all because I don't want to waste it. And then I do frequently, I have definitely had moments, very many moments, and many of which are probably on my channel, where I use too much foundation. I just do not, I just really, really hate the fact that this foundation, it can splatter when you open it. That is one thing I am amazed did not get caught. How did they let that slip through? That's probably my biggest annoyance. So if they were to ever update it or do any renovations to it, I would say please make the neck of the bottle wider, please. I think these two foundations are comparable when you weigh the prices against each other. And so if you have been wanting the idea of this, but you don't have the money for this, which is fine because I actually use my Ulta points on this, I don't have money for this either, then I think you really might actually really enjoy using this. Like, that is my opinion. I'm gonna die on that hill. I didn't realize until I was editing the last video, which, like, look at this double chin going on. I didn't realize until I was editing, so I do sincerely apologize that there was no cat in the last video, because that really is not quite in my character. So, and you know, especially considering that he loves to show up. The reason he didn't make a cameo last time was because he got into my cardboard recycling bin and he just threw all the cardboard everywhere. It was making such a ruckus. It made the editing a little annoying because of the background noise. He just kept, like, kicking things around. So he was a little bit too busy doing that. That's why he didn't show up last time. Oh my goodness, he is over 8 pounds now. He just goes on forever. Like, look, he's like, he's very long. Which, by the way, don't ever hold a cat just by their armpits. You really should also support their bump too. I was just demonstrating the length for scientific purposes, but you should always make sure you're supporting them by their butt. He's kind of a gremlin. Also, he did teach himself how to play fetch. He just brought his toy to me one evening, and so I threw it, and then he brought it back, and I kept throwing it, and now he knows how to play fetch. So if he's ever getting really, really zoomy, and so I need to, like, make sure I play with him and stuff, I can just start throwing toys, and he'll be like, he'll go and get them, and he'll bring them back. He is such a cute, adorable beanie. He's a cute, adorable beanie. Look at him. Is he not just the cutest? Oh my god, he's so chill. Like, he's so comfortable being held, and he's good with car rides, he's good with carriers, he's good with being handled by strangers. He loves all the attention he gets when he's at the vet, seriously. Like, he's gonna be the perfect family kitty. He's still on antibiotics. That obviously is out of my control, so he can very happily stay until he's ready to go. But he's so cute. I know, you're so cute. I hope that made up for, like, no cat last week, because I'm very sorry. That was definitely, like, not acceptable. I'm supposed to, like, I have, like, a contractual obligation to, like, show my cats, because I'm pretty sure half of you guys are watching the video for my cats, not for me, which, like, fair. I would probably do the same thing. Just because I feel like it, I'm going to use the NARS concealer today. It is a little bit light for me, like a lot light for me, but I just feel like using it today. And I still haven't washed my brushes, because, like, y'all, it's just, life is hard. I cannot seem to lose weight. I have been having issues with my digestion, and I've been so tired, because one of the things that mast cell activation syndrome can cause also is insomnia. Plus, like the whole, like, getting insomnia because of grief thing is already well documented. So it's almost like I'm having, like, double servings of insomnia. It's amazing that my insomnia doesn't last for consecutive nights, although if it did, that would actually kill me. Like, life's just been hard, man. So, like, the makeup brushes aren't washed. Oh well. Like, I don't know how you functional adults do it, especially those of you who have kids and a job and, like, obligations and stuff. Like, what? Excuse me, how? I'm going to use some setting spray. My under eyes are, like, kind of dry. I haven't really been as obsessed with completely covering my grooves. Like, if I look down, you can kind of still see them, right? Like, I also just realized I forgot to use my under eye corrector. I know in other videos I used to, like, really get super finicky about finessing my under eyes to the point where you couldn't even see my tear grooves. I haven't really been caring about that as much lately, mostly because I just don't have the mental bandwidth to give a crap about it, but also because my under eyes have been very very dry lately. I no longer have the Holy Grail Chacolin under eye primer anymore, and I don't think there really will ever be an equivalent like it on the market. The cats are playing and being naughty in the background. So because of that, my under eyes just don't accept concealer the way that they used to, so I'm just kind of learning to be okay with the visible dark circles. And for what it's worth, I have also just been learning to like get better at using powders or like finding powder foundation. But I'm just going to use my Urban Decay one to add the extra coverage. As it turns out, powder foundation is actually fine. Like, even though I have dry skin, if I am just kind of conscientious about making sure I'm using a high quality powder foundation and I apply it in a way and I apply it properly and blend it out well, I actually really like how powder foundation looks on me. So I just need to find a good one and stick with it, which my favorite one, of course, is the Urban Decay one, but they literally don't make that anymore, which I don't know why Urban Decay keeps making terrible decisions. But I actually do have a backup though, which, because of the fact that I've had this backup for like 3 years now, I swore to myself never to buy backups again unless I actually am legitimately 75% of the way through something. I totally forgot what I was going to say for this look, what I was going to do. So I realized I never used the Heart% lip tint that I got, which, look at that shade. Is that not just the perfect cool tone shade? I know it's technically fall, but like, so because of the fact that daylight savings literally just happened, look, where you like gain the hour back, which thank God, I hate daylight savings time with a burning passion. I will die happy and feel content with life, and I will never complain again if the USA gets rid of daylight savings time and goes back to standard time year round. And I do not want daylight savings time year round. It has to be standard time year round. This is the hill I am dying on. I know I'm a minority on the internet, but the doctors agree with me, the sleep associations agree with me, psychologists agree with me, and many other professionals and experts agree with me, and I will not be changing my opinion. So if you are deciding that you cannot be friends with me because of this difference in opinion, I completely respect that, and I'm okay with that, because I will not ever deviate from my position that standard time is the superior time and we need to stop having daylight savings time, period. I'm not gonna entertain any arguments. I've heard them all. Anyway, so because it gets dark early out now, which is so nice and cozy, and also like now my circadian rhythm is actually synced up with the day and the nighttime. Like I literally feel chronically jet lagged for the entirety of daylight savings time. Because of that, because of the fact that it's like so dark so early out and it's so great, I was thinking of doing kind of like a more like kind of like maybe gloomy or cloudy kind of makeup look. So a mutual of mine on Instagram said that they were going to be buying the Shall We Makeup collaboration with Freya, which of course I wanted, but like it was at the time that like literally I had to get a new car, right? And so I'm just like, yeah, I like it, but I don't think I can afford it. And they were like, oh, well that's fine, because I'm going to be getting the large palette, and Shall We Makeup was doing a promo where if you buy the large palette, they include the small one for free. So they were like, I'll just buy it and then like you just pay the postage for me to send it to you. And I was like, well, I appreciate that, thank you. So I have it in the mini form, which like it's so cute. Look how cute, it's so cute. So the shades look like this. Just like, it's, if you follow Freya on Instagram, which if you don't, you really should, then you will know this is literally just her in a palette. And I thought to myself coincidentally that those colors will match really well with this Heart% tint that I apparently bought and then literally forgot that I bought and never used. So and I think we'll go from there, and I think that will be fun. So I'm going to use my Fenty Beauty Eye Primer. I know this is probably going to make the mattes a little bit sticky and hard to blend, but I am willing to put up with that. And I'm curious to see if this eye primer will have any effect on holding the shimmers down better and letting them wear better. Kind of want to like use these two shades and then this like very desaturated mint flavored shade. And I might go into a different palette for some matte like muddy browns or even a black if I feel like I need it. The last time I used Shall We Makeup's mattes, it was when I had like the little mini quads, and I remember having a pretty good experience with those too. So like generally speaking, most C Beauty mattes are honestly not bad. A lot of the smaller brands that make the grungier tones and darker tones, the mattes usually tend to be pretty pigmented, but they do still blend pretty well. Like they're very balanced. So I usually don't have issue with those. It's usually the shimmers where it gets me, so we'll see how it goes. Okay, I usually don't do this because I almost never can pull it off well, but I kind of want to take that dark matte and put it on the inner corner because I really wanted to do some playing with some contrast. So I'll try it again. finding where my natural eye socket is, and I'm going to place most of the pigment there, I think is what I'll do. Because I want to put a darker color there so that when I put the lighter color on the inner portion of my eye, it really like visibly contrasts with what's next to it. So that's why I really wanted there to be darkness. I usually don't put a dark shadow here because like usually it looks terrible on me. I don't really feel like I have the eye shape for cut creases. I don't know, it's something about just my brow structure and the shape of my eyes and how close or how far apart they are. Really not, I just don't really have the shape for cut creases. Like Tess Chung has so much space between her eyes and her eyebrows, and so because of that she can make all these gorgeous cut creasey looks that just spread everywhere, and I'm so jealous. They look amazing on her. Especially with my monolids becoming wrinklier as time goes on. I think the only way you can fix that though is by getting a sub brow lift, which it's actually a pretty common procedure for people with monolids because our lids are so heavy they're prone to aging faster than the rest of our faces. But I mean, that would be so expensive. I really like this shade, but I also really like this shade too. They both seem really cool. So I think I'm actually gonna go for this flakier shade. It feels a little bit kind of like it has some slip to it. And it does feel quite textured, so I'm worried it'll be kind of heavy on my eyelid. Maybe it'll even like crease a little bit, like, which like, God, I used to not even have to worry about creasing, but like aging, man, comes for us all. Although I bet there's some of you watching this video listening to me say that being like, what are you even talking about? Like aging, you talking about aging, which I know, you're welcome to judge me. But in my defense, every single age we hit, we are hitting for the first time ever. So I think that's a proper defense. So I'm just going to use my finger to just kind of smear this all across that gap that I left for myself. I know when Freya talks about using eyeshadows though, like I remember seeing her use and review some of the grungier tones from Mauve Beauty, which by the way, Mauve Beauty is definitely a brand I really want to try someday just because their grungier tones are just so unique that the fact that they're clean and stuff, I'm willing to overlook that just for a chance at putting some of those shades on my eyelids, because I feel like some of the shades they have are just so unique. I don't see them anywhere else. But I remember when Freya posted a review of the Mauve Beauty shadows, I remember distinctly that it said like that it does crease on her, but that she doesn't mind because it looks so good. Like she was like, it creases, but like I don't mind. Like was kind of the way she said it. Because like when her makeup creases and looks a little bit more worn in, it kind of matches with the grunge aesthetic that she's well known for, so it really just isn't a deal breaker for her. And B, she also just like, she was like, I mean, I have wrinkly eyelids, things are gonna crease on me and I don't really care. So if these do end up creasing on me, it would not really be like a knock on the palette or on her ability to collaborate, because she probably knows and just doesn't care. I haven't stopped caring yet because I'm still in denial, but I think there will eventually be a point where even I will stop caring. Okay, so I just realized I really want to like have like a darker winged out moment, but because of the fact that I have limited access to my brushes because I am terrible about organizing them and I still haven't organized them yet, I'm actually going to use a stick shadow to accomplish this. That way I can keep control over where things are going and just blend out a stick shadow. I'm a genius. Like, wow, I'm so proud of myself. This is the NABLA Cupid's Arrow in number 6, which by the way, I saw that they have holiday packs on their personal website, but I don't want to have to pay the shipping to get it all the way over here, so I really wish they'd come to Ulta. I would love to buy more from NABLA, but a lot of what I want from them is only on their website. I feel like it's not quite, maybe I like just kind of let it sit for too long. The other shades I have from this range though blend really easily, so maybe it's just this blue one. I think it's just this blue one that's being a problem. I've almost never used this blue one as eyeshadow. I pretty much always use it as eyeliner, which is why I've never noticed up until now. Okay, well, note to self, don't use this blue one as an eyeshadow anymore. Okay, so I'm just gonna go in with that gray that I used earlier and just kind of use that to go around the edges. Sorry that it's looking a little rough. I also like haven't been wearing makeup very often, so naturally it's kind of not a surprise that I would have forgotten how to do my makeup a little bit. Yeah, I think that'll be fine. So I just, note to self, don't use that as an eyeshadow. All of my other shades from NABLA blend out fine as eyeshadows. That is my first time experiencing an issue. I'll just use it on this rougher brush. I try not to use my natural hair brushes for really intense shades like these just because I don't want them to stain. But I think I just need to get over myself and stop treating these tools like they're babies, because like these tools literally exist to serve me, not the other way around. And I know that the Rephr brushes are workhorse brushes and they can take a beating, so I need to just stop freaking out about it. Yeah, and like it's slightly different shades of blue that are on separate sides of my face, but it's fine. Okay, so I have to be careful about using blues on my lower lash line because as you can see, it's like one step away from turning into a black eye. I recently decided that I would like to start wearing colored contacts again. I miss them so much. I haven't worn them for a while just because of the fact that I was healing from LASIK, and after LASIK my eyes did get a little bit dry. But I really want to get back to wearing contact lenses, and so I really want to start buying contact lenses again, but I need to figure out where I can fit it into my budget, but I really miss it, so, but we'll see. I'm not sure yet. I'm going to take this shade right here, and I'm just going to use this to blend out my lower lash line. I really want to now work on the inner corners, and I said I wanted it to be like really bright to contrast with the rest of the look. So this palette doesn't really have the bright tones that I want. So I was honestly kind of bummed to see that Icy Nudes has already sold out on the Sephora website, but I'm going to go in with your Moon Magic from Rose Quartz. This is still, I think, my favorite palette, limited palette that she released. I think this is the one that really is the best of all of them. But I also will say I think this one also is the one that is like the least friendly to a wide range of skin tones. So I'm going to take this and sweep it all across my eyelid, just even all the way towards the back, using the dark purple as like the base to like almost like transform it. And I really have, honestly, I have bought virtually no indie makeup in the past several months, and I used to be such an indie makeup follower, like to the point where I was gonna just completely eschew modern mainstream brands at Sephora, and I was like, what if I just went all indie? Like I was like thinking that was gonna happen. Don't think I'm gonna do that anymore. I'm really not as into indie as I used to be. First off, so many of the brands that I once really liked have started using AI art. That's an automatic deal breaker for me. And I'm done. I'm just so done talking about this. I'm gonna actually use the bright silver in this RABANNE Duo, which like, I'm surprised that nobody's talking about RABANNE Beauty because like their stuff actually looks really nice. I kind of want more of it. I was gonna get more of it, but I just was like, okay, let me at least first use this duo at least a couple times before I decide to buy more from RABANNE. But they even have quads now and like they look really pretty. I think RABANNE makeup looks really cool. But yeah, so like the moment I see a brand start using indie AI art, AI generated images, I just, no, that's an automatic nope from me. I just peace out. And so it feels like I just really don't have many brands left to pick from. And I saw none of the comments mentioning this under their profile, which has me thinking that they're deleting comments or blocking people. But Sugar Drizzle Polish is definitely using AI art for their stuff. It just like screams AI art to me. Either that or, and this, see, this happened with Kristen Lay Cosmetics. They are using art that their manufacturer claims is stock or that they think they can just use, but is actually art created by other artists. I'm just going to use this palette right here, and I'm just going to dig into these darker shades at the end. This is just the Dominique Cosmetics Transition palette. It is quite nice, by the way. I do like it. I don't know what's been going on with her brand though. Remember like she like discontinued a whole bunch of stuff way back in the day and was like, was she gonna rebrand? I have no idea. What I do know is that she discontinued my Holy Grail facial primer, and I still have not forgiven her for that one. So I kind of, like, I don't know, I feel like my outer corners need to be darker. Please let me know in the comments which indie brands you guys are following. Like, even if you think I've already heard of them, like if you're following Cleona and you're like, oh, it's not worth mentioning because you totally know what Cleona is, just let me know that you're following Cleona. Like, I want to know what indie brands people are following these days. So whether it's a big indie brand that I've heard of or whether it's a smaller one that I've never heard of, just let me know. I'm always looking for new indie brands to try that are not doing stuff like using AI art or stealing art or just being really like unprofessional. Like for example, I know I used to be really optimistic about Unearthly Cosmetics, but they are just going absolutely crazy with their pricing and their customer service has been kind of shoddy. so I haven't really been promoting them recently. I did buy from their 40% off Halloween sale because I have been genuinely curious about their Gargoyle and Spring Magic palettes. And I do really love the new expanded Not Normal palette as well as the art, and I do really like that Unearthly Cosmetics does commission and credit their artists. They do so many things right, but the prices that she charges, I'm like, no. Like, your eyeshadow is not the second coming of Jesus. I'm sorry, but that is so expensive. Like, I just kind of stopped talking about them as much because I just really wasn't a fan of that. So we'll see how I feel about their palettes 40% off, but I'm the kind of person now where I'm like, I'm not buying Unearthly Cosmetics unless they go on sale. You will not catch me buying from them full price because it's just ridiculous, the prices that they're asking. I'm not saying that brands like Tom Ford or Pat McGrath are more deserving or not, because the prices are ridiculous no matter what, but especially just the indie brand price creep has been so dramatic and so fast, it just kind of blows my mind a little bit. I am sorry guys, my lower lash line, I will freely admit, looks like complete trash. I'm sorry. I really want to add a little bit more sparkle to my lower lash line, so I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna take this right here. And it's not just indie brands either, it just was kind of the most noticeable for me because I used to follow indie brands so intensively. But like, for instance, those Patrick Ta eyeshadow duos that are currently blowing up the internet right now because people are just aghast at the audacity. I mean, I feel the same way about those too. Literally, they're more expensive than the blushes. That's what gets me. That's just goofy as hell. Like, okay, so I think the eyes are done. It didn't quite turn out as like foggy as I anticipated, but I still kind of like it, especially the flash of like purple. Like, holy crap, I forgot how pretty some of Huda's shimmers can be. I'm going to do my eyelashes off camera. Yeah, I'll do that off camera and then I'll be back. So that was eventful. Not because I forgot how to put lashes on. I actually am surprised at how easily I was able to put the lashes on, but because midway through me putting my lashes on, Mr. Bean came up and started sniffing my face because he literally was trying to sniff the lash glue. I was like, dude, we are so over this. This is not 2010 anymore. Please do not sniff lash glue. Like, you know, I don't actually think there's any negative consequences associated with sniffing lash glue because like it's so close to your eyes that for it to be eye safe, I imagine it's not going to do anything to you if you sniff it. But we should not be condoning kittens sniffing lash glue. What has this world come to? I do really want to put something in my waterline just because like the pink of my waterline it shows, and so for a look like this it's not really ideal to let that just kind of linger. Because of the way my epicanthic fold works, my waterline becomes very like my waterline kind of slowly starts to rotate towards my cornea as you get closer and closer. So not only is it not safe for me to put waterline against my cornea, but I don't really need to because you don't really see it. So just doing it on the outer third is enough, and then for the inner corner I just take on not my waterline but just on the actual lash line, I just put the darker eyeliner right in there, which you've seen me do many times. I am actually going to put on the lipstick first because I actually have no clue what I want to do for my cheeks, which this happens to me a lot. And I mean, I'm going to be editing out like 3/4 of this of what I'm talking about anyways, so I need to stop wasting my lung capacity. This is the Heart Percent. Gosh, what is the name? It's not on the tube and it's in Korean. It's in number 16. I'll put the name on the screen. It's one of the dewy tints, and I got this because it was just such an unusual color. I really wanted to try it. Seeing a lot of really fun and unique colors pop up from brands like Musagai Mansion and Laka and Heart Percent and Dinto recently that I've been really interested in trying. I just am waiting. And so this was one of them. I may make a big Beauty Wax Korea order soon though, because a commenter got me on to the fact that Peri Para just had a collab with Cardcaptor Sakura, and now I never watched the show. But the aesthetic of the show, and so what I generally see pop up in collabs, it's adorable, and I love the imagery and the collab imagery. So I looked it up online, and you guys, it is so pretty. It's so magical, girl, and it's so cute. So I might be placing my Beauty Wax Korea order finally to buy that. Formula wise, it went on very evenly. It's, as you can see, the pigmentation is not completely opaque, which I expected. It's a dewy tint, so it's not going to be completely opaque. I feel like it's kind of emphasizing my lip lines. I think you can see on camera. Do you see how it's kind of making my lip lines more visible? I like the Romand ones a lot because they don't do that. Speaking of, Romand just reformulated, repackaged, and relaunched / renewed their Juicy Lasting Tint range, so a lot of the shades got discontinued and only some of the shades got brought back. I may buy 1 or 2 just to do formula comparisons. I may do that. I am very behind on reviewing their stuff, of course, but I may do that. But I was wondering though if this liquid blush from Unearthly Cosmetics might actually be the one. This is definitely an old release at this point. I realized I hadn't even opened one of the box sets that I got from them. I think it was like Charmer or something. I realized I never actually got around to opening it because I had been using the box to elevate up my monitor, and then I realized I never actually opened the box, which would be great, helpful. Should have done that. So I'm gonna try this. It's in Nirvana. I don't know if you can actually get this anymore. I don't know if it was ever even sold outside of the set. Bean, no, you do not need blush. You're beautiful without blush. You don't need blush, especially you don't need liquid blush. I don't need cat hair on my applicator. Bean, don't ever let anyone tell you you're ugly. You are beautiful just the way you are. You do not need makeup. So stop trying to put makeup on your, stop! He's sniffing the lash glue. He is trying so hard to sniff this lash glue, I swear. He wants to sniff it. He really wants to sniff it. Stop sniffing glue, dude. It's not making you any smarter. But I think anybody who's ever had a kitten or fostered a kitten, he's the cutest little guy because he is really not very vocal, like at all. I gave you a mini mascara, don't take mine. Like, he is the cutest little guy. He never meows. He is super, super quiet. He only meows if he desperately wants something. Like if he's like he has to be desperately wanting something. Like if I have to put him in the bathroom to feed him, and I did have an incident where I forgot and an hour later he started meowing and I felt terrible. But he never really meows unless it's like a desperation situation, right? So when he wants something, so specifically because of the fact that he hates dry food, he only eats wet food. So I have to give him wet food like 4 times a day. So when he starts getting hungry, he doesn't meow at me. What he does instead is he walks up to me and he just starts rubbing and headbutting his face all over my face, and he starts sticking his tail, wrapping his tail onto every appendage I have, and he just throws his whole body against me and starts purring like a motor, and he does this over and over. He'll go back and forth and headbutt me repeatedly over and over again, walking in circles around me, getting on everything I'm doing, sitting on me, sitting on everything I'm doing, and just headbutting me over and over again until I get the message that he wants something. Like, would I rather just have him sit there and meow, or would I rather have him just like be up in my business headbutting me and getting on everything and anything I own to make a mess of everything until he gets what he wants? Like, which one would I prefer? And sometimes I think about it and I'm like, you know, I kind of wish you were just like old school and just meowed at me all the time. Like, sometimes I'm like, you know, maybe the novelty's worn off. Because when I first realized he was doing that, I was like, oh, that's so cute. He doesn't meow, he's quiet. Instead he headbutts me, and so I get to feel his soft fuzziness. Well, I mean, if I'm trying to like do stuff and he's like constantly literally physically impeding me from doing anything, but I can't do anything about it because it's literally not his mealtime yet, I'm like, you know, sometimes it would just be easier if you just went and meowed. And now he's just getting into everything he knows he shouldn't be, specifically so that in hopes of getting my attention so that I'll feed him. I'm like, dude, you are not making it any easier for me to like, or how should I say it? Like, my words are coming out scrambled because like my brain is moving faster than my mouth can. Like, he's bunny kicking a trash bag. Wherever he gets adopted to, he's such an easy cat. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, he is going to be the perfect family cat for somebody. He literally is just so laid back, so easy, and he is very non-reactive. Like, he is like the way that he got socialized and the way he responded to the socialization couldn't have been any more perfect. Some cats, they get socialized but they still get very reactive. Like, so he'll be great for someone. He'll be perfect. But like, I'm just like, dude, you keep acting like this and I'm gonna be like, if I drank alcohol, I'd be like toasting a glass to myself on the day that you left. You keep acting like this, you keep this act up. Which sounds so terrible. If you hear it out of context, it makes it sound like I hate animals. I don't. If I see any of y'all posting on Reddit that I hate animals because of this, then I'm just gonna be very disappointed in you. Also, I totally had thought to myself that I would never be able to use this blush shade because it seemed like such a dead purple / mauve shade that it's just not for me. But as I am using it, I really like this. What the heck? I am shocked at how well this is working. And it, even like objectively speaking, even if I don't have a really grungy makeup look with the exact same tones as what's in this blush, I am actually really liking the look of this blush on me. Like, as you can see, it's a little bit patchy and it's not blending the best. Like, you can see, like, especially for some reason it's really not wanting to blend over my concealer, which I think is because I powdered my under eyes. So you can kind of see like where it like stopped existing by my concealer. So definitely not something you want to put on top of powder because it is not wanting to work on the powder at all. And so it's not like a perfect formula, but it's really not bad, and the color is quite unique. I actually am surprised at how I don't like I'm not disliking how this color looks on me at all. I thought it might look terrible on me. So I'm going to use the Let Me Stay blush from 3CE. This is from their toilet paper collab, which I don't think you can get anymore. I think this shade is still available. I don't think this was a limited shade. I think it was just limited packaging. So I'm just going to use this over this blush, especially around my under eye area, because I don't want to look like I have like freaking raccoon eyes, like the worst kind of raccoon eyes, like mascara smudgy raccoon eyes. Okay, we've all been there. We all know what that looks like. But like the kinds of raccoon eyes because your blush literally got rejected by your under eye concealer. No thank you. Like I don't need to look like it's like sunglasses tan, but like reverse. What? Like it just doesn't feel or look right. I don't want that. And then also in using this blush, it also kind of mattifies the rest of my base, so I don't even need to use a setting powder. At the very least, because of the fact that I was having trouble with getting it to go to my under eyes, I had to blend the powder blush pretty far in to like fix that, and so because of that, now my blush is all the way touching to my nose, which is not generally something I like, so I now want to go back and fix that at the very least. And the Urban Decay powder, like as far as powders are concerned, I think the Urban Decay powder was one of the better ones, which is why I was really shocked to see that it was being discontinued. Okay, really that's not bad. I do want to use a little bit of like a neutral toned contour or bronzer, not like gray. Okay, I'm gonna use the Soft Revenge from NABLA. This is not the lightest shade in the range. It's actually, I think, somewhere in the middle. The reason I got this shade is because of the fact that it's a baked formulation, so I can actually get away with using a darker shade. And the lighter shades in this range were really, really warm. So I picked this one because I like the undertones, and because of the fact that it was a baked formula, it actually is not as opaque or dark as it looks in. So I can use this, and I actually did use it a lot back when I first got it, but the reason it looks barely used is because of the fact that I used so little. I needed so little for it to work. Some of the bronzers in my collection that I got a while back, I look back on them and I'm like, what was I thinking? But this one I used to actually think was maybe a bad decision, and then the more years have gone on, the more I realized that this was actually probably one of the smarter decisions that I've made in terms of buying bronzers. And then but yeah, you can like see, like, do you see how like dry my under eyes look? Just because like I really wish I had an under eye primer, and I've been slacking on my skincare as well. So at this point, it's looking a little bit less like it's settling in my lip lines, and the color has developed quite nicely. And it has also kind of formed that shiny film, so if I talk, it's not going to move. So, you know, like I said, like with these lip tints, you can't just use your first impression. You do have to like actually let it settle down and give it some time. This is the one that I default to when I just want like when I want it to be glittery, but I don't want it to be like pure glitter. This is the one that I kind of default to. It's the Bridgerton one in Incandescent Gold 002 from Pat McGrath. I don't think this is available anymore, but I'll just use this today. I thought about using a cooler highlighter, but I actually think using this is like a cold gold. It's really got that vibe of like being like a cold gold highlighter. So gold in and of itself usually is traditionally associated with warmer tones, so this being a cooler gold, it works well for like if I have a cooler makeup look, so I don't want to use like an overly warm tone highlighter, but I still want to set up some contrast and kind of balance the tones of my face. Then using this can kind of help with that. As you can see, as I promised, once my bangs have grown out a little bit, they actually can look quite nice. Once they grow even out more, then I can start curling them to make them puffy. Right now it's like I have to lay flat, but it's fine. I think overall everything is pretty good. I would say really I would say like the most mid product that I use would be that Unearthly blush, just because it was kind of patchy, but as you saw, it is far from unworkable. And if the color is good, like this color is definitely a very unique color, and I did not expect it to work on me like it did. If the color is like that, I am willing to overlook the formula needing a little bit more elbow grease, because it's not, as I said, I can still work with it. I think the lip is a very unique color. Again, similarly, I'm willing to overlook some of the shortcomings, but I do feel like it does kind of sink into my lip lines a little bit and emphasize them slightly. So and I do know that there are other formulations on the market that do not do that, so, but the color's nice. I will say Heart Percent is a little bit more expensive than Romand, so that's why, like, again, I just feel like Romand just has the best quality for the price, especially because a lot of other brands where it's like, okay, because the color is good, I can overlook the formula, they're like $16 to $20 lip tints. But Romand is like 10 to 12, you know? Like, it's just kind of like, there's that price differential we have to talk about there too. But yeah, I would say though, if you are really interested in mauvier tones and you feel like most of them don't look good on you, consider getting one in a Korean formula, so that as opposed to completely blanking out your lip and then you just having desaturated lips, the mauve tones can cooperate with and be enhanced by your natural lip color, so that you can still get that desaturated look but without looking dead. Like, I would say try one that's a little bit more sheer. You might actually really like it. My favorite one personally, if you want something that's not quite as dark, is actually Canyon from the Dewy Full Water Tint line. I don't know if it's still available, but that's my favorite. However, it is lighter, so if you want something that's darker, then something like this would be what you would want to go for. Because this, if it was like an opaque liquid lipstick or a totally opaque gloss or an opaque satin lipstick, would look terrible on me. But since it's sheer, like, you can kind of see the color, but at the same time you see my lips, so I don't look dead, you know? I had fun filming this, and I hope you guys had fun listening to me ramble about stuff. Let me know in the comments, just whatever. Let me know what's up, what's going on, what about you? But with that, I'll be signing off, so I'll catch you guys in the next video. Hopefully the next video comes up next week. I'm really trying. I really want to film 3 looks 1 palette, but I just keep not filming until Sunday night, which obviously doesn't give me enough time for that, but I'll figure it out someday. So thank you for your patience, and in the meantime, I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye-bye!